Hi there, my name's Simon Drew, and welcome to the Practical Stoic Podcast, where I give you practical Stoic advice for modern times. You can support the show by going to patreon.com/Simon Drew. I also do one-on-one mindset coaching, and you can book in your first free consultation by going to risetothegoodlife.com/coaching. On Facebook, you can join my group, the Practical Stoic Mastermind. But for now, enjoy this episode. Hi there, my name's Simon Drew, and welcome to the Practical Stoic Podcast. For today's episode, I wanted to mix it up and bring Musonius Rufus back onto the podcast, because we often hear from Seneca or Epictetus or Marcus Aurelius, but this is mostly due to the larger volume of literature that we actually have from these philosophers. And despite the limited resources that we have from Musonius Rufus, his teachings are still just as inspiring as any of the other great Stoics. And the passage that stuck out to me is one which I think is important to share with all people who are starting to learn about this philosophy, because it has to do with the Stoic art of practicing hardships and doing difficult things. This is one of the Stoic principles that really drew me into this philosophy, because I admired the fact that there were people thousands of years ago teaching that we should not only prepare ourselves to endure hard times, but that we should also actively seek out difficult situations so that we can test and strengthen ourselves. And the passage that I'm about to read to you embodies and explains those principles. Musonius Rufus said, quote, "We will train both soul and body when we accustom ourselves to cold, heat, thirst, hunger, scarcity of food, hardness of bed, abstaining from pleasures, and enduring pains. Through these methods and others like them, the body is strengthened, becomes inured to suffering, and strong and fit for every task. The soul is strengthened as it is trained for courage by enduring hardships and trained for self-control by abstaining from pleasures. The first step in the proper training of the soul is to keep handy the proofs, showing that things which seem to be good are not good, and that things which seem to be bad are not bad, and to become accustomed to recognizing things that are truly good and distinguishing them from things that are not. The next step is to be careful neither to flee from things that only seem to be bad, nor to pursue things that only seem to be good, and then to avoid by all means the things that are truly evil, and in every way to strive to attain things that are truly good." End quote. Now, I would forgive you if you had to go back and listen to that quote a fair few times before you fully got all of the value that he's giving us in those words. But one of the things that I love about this passage is that he starts by emphasizing that we will be training both body and soul, or the mind, when we do difficult things, because we often get the idea that the body and the mind are separate. But that is simply not the case. The strength of one's mind is also a reflection of one's body, and the health of one's body is also a reflection of one's mind. And on top of this, when we do difficult things such as physical exercise, you're not only training your body to become physically healthy, but you're also training your mind to be able to endure greater challenges. So much of fitness and exercise is a mental game, and any great athlete will tell you that. But we often dismiss this aspect when starting a new workout program or diet strategy. And I also love how Musonius Rufus points out, and rightly so, how we as human beings have the tendency to place incorrect values on certain things in life. To use the example of exercise again, there are two levels of thought when you first decide to work out. The first thought is the monkey brain thinking that to do something difficult would be crazy when you could just have leisure and immediate gratification by sitting there watching Netflix. And then there's the rational long-term part of your mind which says that even though it will be hard now, the payoff later will be very impressive and will create longer lasting satisfaction. The latter thought is the one which Musonius Rufus is encouraging us to adopt more often. And all of the Stoics have encouraged this long-term thinking at one time or another. And it has often been said that the things that you want to do least are most likely the things that you should be doing most. And this is really what Musonius is trying to teach us here. He's trying to encourage us to completely deconstruct our belief system so that we can understand the things that are going to be really beneficial for our long-term happiness and success, and so that we can also avoid those things that are only going to bring short-term happiness. Things that are disguised as good but really are only going to drag us along a path to physical and mental destruction. In fact, he said that we should avoid by all means the things that are truly evil, and in every way strive to attain the things that are truly good. So let's get some examples of things that may be disguised as being good in the moment, which we often fall prey to. Examples may be laziness, poor diets, unkindness, lust, impatience, poor work ethic, cutting corners, finding excuses, and many more. And now, what about examples of things that appear at first to be bad because they are difficult, but that will really lead to a more fulfilling life? See, Musonius already gave us some examples, but they were mostly to do with physical hardships. And so I would say that some examples other than exercise, eating the healthiest foods, and fasting would be apologizing, having humility, loving those you're angry with, going after your goals with gusto, and taking personal responsibility. These are all things that are somewhat difficult to do and yet are things that we should be doing most often. And so today I simply wanted to encourage you to take another look at your life. Are you following the easy path that will really lead to a difficult life in the long run? Or are you choosing to subject yourself to the things that seem difficult, but that will really bring you long-term results and satisfaction? And let's not cut out the fact that by practicing these difficult tasks, you're preparing your mind and body for future real-life difficulties that will arise. And so your life will be much easier because you did what was hard. Take this advice from Musonius Rufus and immediately begin the process of testing your body and mind, while at the same time testing your assumptions of what is good and what is bad. As you do this, I can guarantee that both your body and mind will be strengthened, and you'll be a better person for it. I'll talk to you next time, but until then, I hope that this episode has helped you on your rise to the good life. Ciao. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Practical Stoic Podcast. I hope it's been valuable for you, and if you'd like to support the show, then you can go to patreon.com/Simon Drew. If you'd like to try mindset coaching with me, then you can book your first free consultation by going to risetothegoodlife.com/coaching. To join the community, just go to Facebook and search for the Practical Stoic Mastermind. The links to all of these places are included in the show notes, but for now, this is Simon Drew signing out.